patterns of violence really often look like a public health problem. And what we found in the city of Newark is it's not, and by the way, cities in California, Los Angeles, Oakland are doing things that aren't just about trying to get the guns off the streets, but also to invest in the communities that are impacted by the violence, by do the things that we know that work to prevent violence. And so much of this to me, when I was mayor, things we found out that worked was, we worked in communities by empowering them with economic resources, going to gangs in our city, calling them in, not us, police or mayor, but having community leaders call into meetings and saying what's going on in your lives that are making you live this lifestyle. It meant trying to build up neighborhoods that were often torn down by a criminal justice system where a lot of people feel like they were getting sucked into it and had no options. We have a country that has a criminal justice system that while I went to Stanford and watched people do drugs, there's no consequence, but we had more marijuana arrests in 2017 than all violent crime arrests combined. And so now you're a kid that's gotten a criminal conviction for doing things that 2 of the last 3 presidents admitted to doing. And now you can't get a job, you can't get a business license, you can't get a loan from your bank, you can't get public housing. And we started seeing that there were so many things that were creating conditions of harm and conditions where violence is more likely to happen. And the last thing I want to add to this is we really found out that there was these compounding elements when we started looking into the data, from the fact that the people most likely to be the murder victims in our city were actually men coming home from prison in their first 6 months. We couldn't believe it, that your highest likelihood of being murdered in my city, which I imagine goes on in others, is people coming home from prison and in those first months not having opportunity, not having a safe place to go, not having pathways to prosperity and security. And then the second thing I'll say, you said this to me when we weren't up here, but I think that people should understand this, is that trauma, when you have a gunshot in a neighborhood, there's a trauma that then lives in that neighborhood. And you don't just snap a finger and recover. And it lives in bodies. It lives in shattered communities. We had a shooting in front of an IHOP, Mayor, and I'll never forget that the reverberation that violence had. The IHOP used to be 24 hours. Now nobody came in there at night, so it lost a shift. That then impacted all the workers. Often, as you know, this is America, right? You have to work often more than 40 hours a week. So all these women that were relying on those second shifts to make ends meet. And we just saw that, and most Americans don't realize this, one gun shooting in a neighborhood could have, being measured literally in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in economic impact. If you are a violence survivor, you have a material impact to your lives. And so to address this issue, we have to have a more comprehensive plan than that's just guns focused. It also has to be people focused.